welcome to a new episode on Sadhana World Foundation. As you know, our mission is to craft young lives by imparting them moral education. We present stories from lessons in history and our folk tales focused on moral values. I hope these stories have been useful in discussions with our young people so that they could appreciate the value of what's right and what's wrong from a moral standpoint and strengthen their own moral compass, help them become better human beings. Today I'm going to take up a topic which we encounter almost every day in our lives. You go out to the traffic signals, you find some people begging for money or assistance. You receive calls from people who are looking for financial assistance. You receive emails in your emails, or you receive messages on your social media platforms where somebody is sick and somebody needs treatment, or someone is not getting help to study further, and so on and so forth. In each of these situations, one is not sure whether I should contribute something as charity, because you are not sure where those funds are getting utilized. This is a kind of a paradoxical situation that there are millions of people in this world who have the ability and the interest to contribute to charity, and there are another set of people who are exploiting this, and there is a third set of people who don't believe in it. In today's episode, we will talk about the fundamentals, the foundation of the concept of charity. Let's recount a story from our folk tales. There are many, but let me just present one of them. There was a king called Harishchandra who was very well known for the charitable work that he did. Apparently, nobody who visited him went empty-handed after meeting him. King Harishchandra was known for fulfilling the promises made to the poor, the needy, someone who came asking for something. He was known for it. So there was a test that the god himself or herself decided to conduct on King Harishchandra. Of course, this is a mythological story, so we don't know whether it is true or it is historic. We of course don't know. However, the learning is immense here. That's why I am presenting this story to you today. So God comes in the disguise of a beggar and says that I am very hungry. I need some food. King Harishchandra said, of course, I feed so many poor people every day and I am willing to feed you. But this beggar said, I have some conditions, King Harishchandra. Harishchandra said, of course, just tell what you want. I will surely fulfill if it is within my control. The beggar in disguise said, you make a promise that you will not break your promise. I am making a promise that what I am going to ask is definitely within your control. You are known in this world for your charitable work. I am hungry and I am interested in having a meal. The meal has to be cooked by you, by your family, and it has to be served hot to me. I have a condition. Before I explain the condition to you, you make a promise that you will not break your words. King Harishchandra said, of course I won't. I would hold my reputation and I will protect it. The man who's actually the god now throws the test. He says, great, now you have made the promise. You have only one son. I would like you to kill your son by yourself. And I would like the flesh of your son to be cooked by your wife and to be served to me as the meal. King Harishchandra was, of course, shattered. Everybody in the royal family and the attendants were all shocked and surprised. Many people tried to persuade him not to hold the promise, not to fulfill the promise. But King Harishchandra said, if this is what this man wants, and I have to protect my reputation as a charitable man, I would do this charity. After all, on this surface of earth, we have all just bound to each other by certain kind of emotions and by certain relationships which are not real. Those relationships have been formed in this world, and similarly, charity is something which I am doing in this world, and all of this I am going to leave behind one day. So if I can set an example, why not? I am willing to lose my son, but he is the dearest of mine. He is the only son, but I am willing to lose my most precious thing in this world. If there is something which is most precious in this world, it is my son. I will kill him, because all of this possibly is just a test which I am being subjected to. I will fulfill the promise. And of course, the queen becomes extremely sad, and there are no words to describe how sad and how unhappy both of them were, how depressed both of them were. But they went through the whole process, and when the meal was being served to the beggar, then the real thing happened. All the gods and the whole universe came together to break this plot. And King Harishchandra was said, it was a test, and you have successfully passed this test. And the rest is history, or rest is folktale. So what does this story tell us? Like this, there are several stories related to charity in our mythology, in also lessons in history. Bill Gates is, of course, not very old history. It is pretty much happening right now. It's just a couple of decades old story. And it's unfolding that how a rich person is able to contribute or is able to dedicate his wealth towards charity. There are many such examples, many such examples. What's the lesson of this story? Of course, as I said, this is mythology. Let's analyze this a bit. So when do you do the charity? I think this story throws open a few questions. One is that when do you agree for a charitable act? And second, how much of charitability or how much of charity is desirable? Is there a limit? Through our day-to-day living on this world, in this world, we need to answer these questions, right? So like they say, charity begins at home. I think it starts from there. The story, first teaching of this story is charity begins at home. Like the parents behave, the children observe. Like the parents behave, the neighbors observe, the society observes, the community observes, and certain kind of norm gets set about charity as a value. The concept of charity is that if you can give something, you are just lucky to have got something. Can you share that with others? Can we coexist as a community, as an ecosystem? This whole world is built on the concept of give and take. There is the food cycle where somebody becomes food to someone else, and that becomes food to someone else, and it again comes back. We all studied all of this in as very, very young kids at the age of maybe 5, 6 years old. We all understand this, but when we grow into the 20s, our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, some of these teachings we tend to leave behind. But the point is, charity begins at home. King Harishchandra in this story stands the test. Of course, this test is very, very hard, and many people in this world cannot stand up to this test. Possibly in this story, this is given as an example, as an extreme situation. We don't encounter such situations every day, and I hope nobody encounters such a situation ever during one's life, that you have to sacrifice somebody who is very near to you just for charity. That's really a very, very high order of sacrifice that one is being asked to do. Possibly that example has been used in the story to illustrate the point that charity begins at home. How we behave with the others in our family gets picked up by the people who live with us in the family. Can I say thank you to someone? Can I offer something which is very dear to me? There are many small things. It could be food, it could be time, it could be a gift, it could be something which is very dear to me, but there is someone else in my family who is also looking for the same. And like the world is, resources are limited. So can we share? I think that's where charity begins. If there is a poor, there is a needy, there is a hungry who has come seeking some help, how do our parents respond to that person? Of course, in today's world, there are begging rackets, and sometimes we are not sure whether the alms that we are giving to the beggar is actually being consumed by the beggar. Of course, we have to apply our own subjective or our own test, our own judgment there. However, when we know that the person is really needy, really underprivileged, how do the people around us behave? How do our organizations where we work, or how does my school or college or university where I study respond to such a situation? Are we sensitive to the needs of people who do not have something and I am just lucky to have it? Let's not forget the fact that we are just lucky to have been born in certain families. We do not get to choose where we take our birth, which country, which place, which family I take birth in. We cannot decide. Someone else decides, and it just happens. So we inherit things which are not ours, and we leave behind things which are not ours when we die. When we take birth, we inherit things, and when we die, we leave behind things. So all of this is basically the mortals which keep circulating in this world. I am just in custody of these things for a temporary period of time. Do I need all of it which I have inherited? Certainly not. There are many others who have not been as lucky as I am to have not got it. So can I share with someone else? So ladies and gentlemen, the point that I wanted to make is charity begins at home. we need to contribute certain part of the fortunes that we inherit or that we have earned to the others. We can help others by not only financially, but by time, but by good words, but by kind deeds, but by supporting them in various ways. I hope today's episode was interesting for you all. Thank you very much. I look forward to our future conversations on such moral value based topics. Thank you.